So the biohacking conference, it was in Orlando. It was fairly large. I think there were about 1,500 people there. And there was a main conference room, and then there were breakout rooms. And there was also an exhibit area where all the people who had biohacking ideas. Big conference that goes on annually. If you want to go to it next year, it's biohacking conference. And I think next year is in Dallas. And I actually did meet a physician who runs a hair loss clinic. And he actually gave me some pretty good ideas about growing back hair. And I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but if I come on here 1 month, all of a sudden looking like Ringo Starr, I've been to the hair loss clinic. It is tempting because it looks so easy. I did put up my hand during the conference and I said, how much is a hair transplant? And his answer was priceless. And I would just say that for me, a biohack is a shortcut. So what we're looking for here is, what are the shortcuts that we can find that will improve our longevity and improve our health? This is a company called ARX. You can Google it. There's some videos on there. And there's essentially your typical pull down that you're doing here. I learned doing this, and this is the result of me doing the pull down. I can pull down much more weight than I can let up. Pulled it down 3 times. I was exhausted after doing it. I was strapped into a seatbelt, just like this guy is here. I was able to pull down 300 and some odd pounds, but my let up was only 157 pounds. Well, you can't do that with regular weights. You can only pull down and pull up the same weight. So this is a computer adjusted, height adjusted for you. And it allowed me to pull down 350, and then going up, it was 157. When you're doing a bench press or a pull down, it can only be the same weight up and down. After doing this exercise, my takeaway was, muscle is the most important thing, and it gets harder with age. Number 2 is there's people promoting all kinds of stuff, okay? Just be careful, right? Don't believe everything you see. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. And the last one is a personal victory, because I hated cold showers. I found one guy who said cold plunging is still questionable. So I said, boom, I'm sold. But I was looking for one credible person to say it, and I found one. They had several cold plunging opportunities there. I took a bathing suit, but I passed on it. Kirk is a physician. He's a concierge physician, and he's got some really cool and interesting things to say.
Thank you, Derek, and thanks, everyone. So concierge care is meant to give timely and accessible care to the patients and the people I serve. It's more of an exclusive model because it's a pay monthly model. Mine's a membership model. And so with a monthly membership, that model delivers timely and what I like to say, very personalized care.
I've had 2 medical problems in the last, 3 or 4 months. And I called Kirk. I got a call back immediately. And in one case, he gave me a prescription, which solved the problem. And in one case, I waited 8 hours in emergency to get the same diagnosis. I spent 8 hours, painful hours in emergency. They gave me a basic answer, which Kirk basically gave me over the phone.
And the most important thing that is distilled and crystallized out of this is time. And there's no more important, powerful factor in all of our care than time. The current family physician experience usually is like 10 minutes in and out, one problem. I don't know how you can resolve complex, meaningful, personal problems with that sort of throughput model. And then time, as Derek said, the longer you wait for treatment, the sicker you get. And then you spend 8 hours in emergency to try to get the answers. So in our model, we have almost instantaneous access by a member of my team. We guarantee same day, next day service. My intake appointment in that very room is 2 hours long to go through a comprehensive sort of intake, history and physical. We have legislation called patient first, and I can't think of how much further than first place the current patient experience is. So this is meant to be, in my model at least, a collaboration between myself and the patients I serve, and that there's a voice of the patient, just like there's a voice of the customer. And it gives you the ability to say, hey, I'd like to talk about longevity. So with that in mind, I have an app. All my patients have an app. It's being sort of reworked now. So if you want to get a hold of my team, you send it in, prescription requests, appointment requests, self-scheduling appointments. Hey, can I talk to Kirk? Someone's back to you almost instantaneously, and you're connected with myself or my nurse practitioner, once again, within hours, and seen in person same day, next day. So how does concierge medicine and that model enable longevity? Well, I think if you get better care, you should live longer because you're diagnosing things, you get into timely treatment. And I think where it really sort of starts to branch out is, okay, there's advanced diagnostics out there. Part of that is functional medicine, which looks at just a more holistic approach to disease management, and innovative therapies. Other than diagnostics, what else can we take? NAD, hormones, peptides, all those things should be in a conversation if we're truly talking about reaching your best potential from a health perspective. I think it's really a very important tool in the toolbox of anyone's health, is that it's another lens to see, how can I be better? How can I avoid disease? How can I get in front of it? And it just basically looks at lifestyle, genetics, environment. So back to the therapies, what are the value add biohacks? Like, where do we potentially get the most? Hormone replacement therapy. I take testosterone. I think it's great. Muscle mass is a good thing, like you said, Derek, for lots of reasons. I'm optimizing that.
So Kirk, like, your model works because you presumably limit the number of patients you have so that you can provide that service. You said you're in London, right? So in Toronto, do you know if there's services like this available?
Excellent question. I'm actually going to Toronto when I get back to look at a space at Avenue and Bloor. The reality is 80%, and studies show this, 80% of your people's or patients' concerns can be addressed virtually, but you still need hands-on. This is a comprehensive care model. This isn't like Maple. I need a note for work. This is meant to be good care on steroids with all the bells and whistles of Medcam. And absolutely, back to your point, there's a critical mass of patient volume that allows us to deliver service. So I would have to sort of flex in other people. But like any business owner, you're not sort of ordering the nails and the screws and the wood for the buildings you build, right? I don't need to see every strep throat, but I can absolutely come in at CEO to CEO level, put health plans into place. I know when to get involved just from my emergency background. And it's kind of like an open source model. My patients, and Jacob, I don't think is on the call. He's a patient of mine. He invited me to this group. I met Derek. People build things together like we talked in communities. And I like that. And that's what this is like.